Good afternoon, YouTube. I'm Fidel Snooker II. Today, I'm going to present to you guys my first episode. This is my meal prep Sunday, where I'm basically going to prepare an alkaline lifestyle style meal that I meal preparation for Sundays for about 3 to 4 to 5 days, batch cooking, and so on and so forth. So I'll give you guys an overview of how I do it, how I am able to maintain my level of fitness and my level of energy and vitality through my diet and lifestyle. Is just a glimpse into the actual food part of it and how I eat an alkaline lifestyle bioelectric plant-based diet. So I'm going to give you guys an overview. First of all, this is how my kitchen is set up. So let me show you guys the kitchen area space. So first off, this is how I set everything up. So I get everything organized in terms of ingredients, how it's gonna work. So you'll see, first off, this is gonna be the ingredients I'm gonna be using today. So you'll see fennel, you'll see, let's see, kale, purple cabbage, you'll see some carrots. I'm sure I have some squashes there, yellow squashes, you see some tomatoes, you'll see some cauliflower, then you have some more squash, some basil. There is the celery right here. These are some coconut aminos, some basil. Over here you'll see some red potatoes that are basically being washed. I'm just soaking them. And then you'll see some tofu on the side. The bananas are not going to be included in this. I just eat them separate. So, and then you'll see how I prepare what I'm going to use to prepare it today. So it's going to be simple pan with some olive oil. And then also you're going to see another wok with some olive oil inside of it, and then a separate skillet pan. And I'm probably going to use this skillet pan with some coconut oil. So these are the two oil ingredients I'm using today, which are going to be olive oil on one side and coconut oil on the opposite. All right, so we're going to get into it. Oh, and also the water. Now this is water. This is not just regular alkaline water that I get from the grocery store. I go to a dispensary, a self-service dispensary called Fresh Pure, and I ordered this little spout off of Amazon. You just basically push it, and what it does is it just dispenses the water from the 5-gallon tub. So I have 5 of these, and pretty much every week we go to refill them, and it's only about $1 a gallon. So I suggest that you guys go to get this. This is negative ORP, negative 219 ORP, which is the oxidation reduction potential. This is kind of like the equivalent of having a Kangen water machine inside of your house, but you're not paying the $1,300, $3,000 or whatever for the Kangen machine. You're just going to go get it yourself. And I prefer to get it myself so I can affirm to my water and all those great things. So these are my tools. I'm just going to be using a simple knife. You have a spatula, you have a spoon. So right now I'm going to get to the cutting, show you guys how all this is going to work, and then I'm going to pack these up into these glass containers. That's going to be my food for the duration. Now, that's not actually all of the food. So what I'm also going to be making, you're going to see in my refrigerator, it's going to be mushrooms, okay? Because mushrooms are just like the equivalent for me of having chicken and having like meat, because I enjoy mushroom. You know, we don't use any meat products. You'll see meat inside of my refrigerator, but that's not for me. That's for my dogs. My dogs eat that. I'm not. I don't need to consume any of that, but they do. Okay, so let's keep it going. So, all right, so this is gonna be last. Let me put this over here. You're gonna see these mushrooms are gonna be for last. All right, I'm gonna get to start chopping right now, and you're gonna see it. All right, so I'll be back in a moment after everything is chopped up and prepared. You guys can just kind of watch me as I do it, and I'll just kind of talk you through it and everything. So enjoy. I like to stress the importance of always having a really nice environment for your food preparation, because it's so important. Mainly what I think people don't gravitate towards is that this food goes into your mouth, it goes into your system. So because of that, simply look at it as everything has an effect on your actual energy space. Everything does. Everything has an effect. Okay, so as you can see right now, what I'm doing, I'm just gonna take everything in order. I have 2 bowls that I basically put all the cut produce inside of. And that's why I like to organize everything, separate everything, and then I can start to cook it all in order. So this shouldn't take me long. Usually it's under an hour, or it's actually under about 45 minutes that I do take. And I'm going to also explain to you the benefits as to why you should eat this way. No matter what you are, I'm going to explain to you. Okay, so one thing I want to talk to you about, if you're a entrepreneur, if you're a business person, if you're a speaker, if you're an athlete, you need to understand how to feed yourself, how to fuel yourself. It's important for you to know just how to do it, why to do it the right way, how to do it the right way. And the reason I think food is such a big topic, such a big thing, is mainly because people don't actually know. They don't understand the importance of why they should eat this way. They just eat whatever they want to eat, or they feel like it, and they make the excuse that they're busy, that they can't do this, and they also outsource it to people who don't actually know how to do it. That's the part that I think is really detrimental. You know, you're taught as an entrepreneur to delegate, which is important. You're supposed to keep your mental bandwidth, pristine. You should keep yourself focused, but there is a psychology in your solar plexus, in your gut. And if your psychology, understand how I'm saying this, there is a psychological mechanism because of the gut-brain connection. There's a gut-brain connection, as there is a heart-brain connection. And so your gut basically controls your mood. So if your mood is off, I guarantee you, your food is off. And what I mean by your food is off is the quality of it is not the best. The quality of it is not something that is conducive to what I would say health and wellness. I'm about 190 pounds, about 185 to 190 pounds. I'm around 5% body fat. I have no problem building muscle. I have no issue. I don't overly consume protein. I don't take creatine. I don't take supplements. I don't need them. I encourage people to eat more simple carbohydrates, actually, and mainly fruit. That's what I mainly eat. So if you see some of the things that I do eat, you'll see grapes. These are some organic grapes I usually get. Grapes every other day, if not every day. It's like my favorite thing to eat. So prior to noon, I'm consuming nothing but fruit. I'm consuming nothing but watery fruit. So water-based fruit. And what I think people mistake is they buy in to the hype. They buy into the things that people say. They buy into the new trending thing or the new fad or whatever the new diet is. They buy into those things. And they don't actually listen to what their body needs. You know, my favorite mechanism for building muscle, I have my own home gym, so I'll probably do a demonstration of a workout one of my training days, and I'll show you guys just how I do it. One thing that I do encourage you all to do is you may not see it right here, but I'll show you. So I'm grounded even while I'm cooking. So this is a very important thing for you to do, is ground yourself. You want to be grounded at every moment inside your house. The more negative electrons that you can get inside your body, it's great for you. It's great for your energy. So realize this, the more that you can get, the better for you. And that's why I think people also they're out of touch with why they're so disconnected. Okay? So let me explain while I'm doing this demonstration about the Alkalign Lifestyle and what it actually is. So the Alkalign Lifestyle, I came up with this concept because I need to understand why people are incoherent. People don't have balance. People are so racing through life, and they just don't have the, I'll say, mental bandwidth to be able to do things properly for themselves. They just don't have it. It's like they're just not there. Like they just don't have an understanding, a simple understanding of how they need to be or how they need to behave. They don't have that. And so because of that, I need to understand, why do people want to have destructive behavior? Where do they come from? And what I really started to understand was that energy is everything. It's in everything. And we just don't harness it correctly. One thing that I've noticed people don't take care of, they don't do, is they just don't focus on coherence. You know, I have plans all over. I have calendars, plans written out all the time, all day long. From my morning to my afternoon, to what I'm eating, to what I'm drinking, I have plans. And I have a checklist for my days. And I think people have gotten away from organization. They've gotten away from organizing themselves in a way that's gotten them, that gets them something beneficial. They just don't like to take instruction. People are like really against instruction, which is really awkward, because I think instructions are great. I think it's right to have them. You know, let me put this camera back a little bit. All right, let's get a little higher on the spectrum here. All right, perfect. Really good. Okay. So now, you know, when you see that, you're not really realizing that people with instruction, they're so against instruction, they don't know that their body, their mind needs to have instruction in order to do things, to do the right thing. They don't know that. But your 7 chakras, here's where the Alkalign Lifestyle comes in. Your 7 chakras hold the key to universal law, to how your reality actually forms from your behaviors, your lifestyle choices, and your subconscious and conscious mind. Now, your subconscious programs are what basically direct you and instruct you. And this is why I'm saying your instructions are important. You have a certain diet for every emotion that you express. And if you don't understand that, whenever you get sad, you grab something. Whenever you're happy, you grab something. Whenever you're stressed out, you grab something and you eat it. It may be constructive, it may be destructive. People drink caffeine all day long. They don't realize that caffeine is actually classified as a drug. You know, mainly people drink alcohol too. They don't realize that alcohol is destructive to your solar plexus. If they did understand that, they might make a different choice. Maybe, maybe not. You know? So, plain and simple, starting off with the root, we'll talk about each one has a certain right. A right to do something, a right to have something, a right to be something. And that's why each one of these foods that you see, you'll see, let's count the colors. You have purple, you have red, you have orange, you have yellow, you have green in different variations. You have avocado in the corner. You have, let's see, the potatoes are actually red potatoes. So again, another red color. You have white in terms of the mushrooms too. These are white. You know, so these are all colors of the chakras. If you want something that's, if I have anything blue, I have blueberries as well. So these are blueberries. You have yellow, which is like the squash of the bananas. You have grapes that are also red. Okay, so pretty much every color that you can see is accounted for in my refrigerator, in my kitchen, based on what I'm eating. I have every color of the rainbow spectrum of the chakra system, and it's accounted for. So what I'm doing is I'm programming myself based upon my food. If you don't know that food programs you, you go and you consume things like processed food. But processed food has no program because it's not food. It's synthetic, made in the laboratory. Most of it is made to increase shelf life. And that's why there's no nutritional, electrical benefit to having it. All right. So in case of the Alkalign Lifestyle, what I realized was that when I fuel myself correctly, I can see the world differently. When I fuel myself incorrectly, I see the world differently in a bad way, in an incorrect way. And this is not just food. This is with my music. This is with things like what I'm reading, things like, places that I'm going, people that I'm around. All of it has an effect. Every bit of it has an effect. So think of your body like a human biocomputer. That's what you pretty much are. And this biocomputer keeps all of the wisdom in your life that you've been able to experience in your life. If you don't go to this computer and basically update it like your laptop, or like, your iPhone has a new update every couple of months. It has an update. If you keep on living in a past time, in a present time, you're always going to make the present time your past time. I'll say it again. If you continue to live in your past, in your present becomes your past. So all that you do, you begin to simplify everything that you do. You must pay attention to your patterns. You don't know your patterns, you don't know to change them. So the goal is awareness. The Alkalign Lifestyle is called Alkalign because it's made up of two words. Alkalign, which is ALKALINE, which is basically the energy that we use, the diet that we're eating, how we're fueling ourselves. That's alkalign. Then there's alignment, ALIGNMENT, alignment of your 7 chakra energy centers, but it's 9 centers of energy, but 7 chakras, beginning at your ankle. So if you see beginning at your ankle, there's a lymph node there, a renal lymph node there, also behind your knee, and then you have one that's here, beginning at the perineum area, sacral chakra area, and you'll have your plexus, solar plexus. Then you'll have your heart, which is the thymus gland. You have your thyroid, which is going to be your throat chakra. Then you have your third eye. You have your pineal gland, and then you have your crown, which is going to be your pituitary gland. So how you feel and what you see, it's all interconnected. So I do not consider anyone who does not consider every part of the body at one time any type of healer. You may go to the hospital, you may go to the doctor, they may take your blood or do something where it's like, oh, okay, you have a low iron count or you have low copper or something like that, which I don't think anyone actually has low iron because there's iron's in everything. I just think they don't have the mechanism to process what they already have. That's what I truly believe. And that's also proven, scientifically that's proven too. Most people have mechanisms that don't work. And because of that, simplistically, because of that, they can't seem to get themselves moving, get their energy moving, because your red blood cells are what carry that iron and oxygen throughout your organs inside your body. So one main thing about alignment is your thoughts are what control the instructions. They send out the instructions for what you're going to do, for how you're going to be, for how you're going to behave, or it's your thought process. If you don't get your thought process under your control, can't have much of anything, because you'll be seeing your life based on constant fight or flight, and that's going to keep you in a resonance that's always going to cause you stress. So what I'm going to explain next is how this stress keeps you down, how it keeps you in a place of I'm broke, keeps you in a place of I'm broken, keeps you in a place of I'm lonely. It keeps you in a space of I can't grow, because you can't grow any muscle with a body packed with cortisol. It won't work. You can't actually develop any type of growth mechanism inside your body if you don't actually first clear your body out of all the toxins, mainly parasites. And this comes from a person who suffered from I had ringworms, and I had all types of tapeworms, and I had all types of seizures. I used to have epilepsy when I was younger. And it was very, very painful to suffer from those energetic things, because I didn't know anything about it. You know, my parents were very acidic. You know, my father, he drank a lot of brown liquors and brandies, and my mother, she drank a lot of soda. So she drank soda and other carbonated beverages. One secret about carbonated beverages is carbonated beverages are just carbonated water, basically pumped with carbon dioxide. The irony in that is we breathe out carbon dioxide because it's toxic to us. But when you have sparkling water, when you have water or soda, this water is just injected with carbon dioxide. If you go to the grocery store, you can find cans where you can actually make your own. And it's like a toxic substance, so you can't take it out into the sun. If you do, it's going to explode. So just a key of reference, if you're going to the beach, if you're going out into the sun, don't drink soda, because carbon dioxide is going to not only dehydrate you again, it's going to limit your oxygen intake. So many people walking around today don't have enough oxygen inside their body. They just haven't figured out that they need oxygen in the first place. That's a really big thing. So, you'll see I'm over here chopping up the kale. I actually enjoy putting the kale into the skillet pan. Sometimes I enjoy baking it, making like kale chips. But the more chlorophyll that you have, the more oxygen you're able to take in. Yes, human beings do also participate in photosynthesis, photon synthesis. That's what we participate in. So you'll see that I have this grounding cord plugged into the wall, and what the grounding cord is doing is giving me negative electrons to match with the positive electrons, or excuse me, with the positive photons, emissions in the atmosphere. So negative comes from the ground, positive comes from the atmosphere. So I'm balanced. That's why I'm just in harmony at this moment in time. Not only because I'm cooking, I'm in harmony because I'm cooking, because it's the harmonious thing, but I'm also in harmony just because of my energy. So now you'll see I have this prepared. We're gonna get to the cauliflower and then the cabbage. And so these last two. So again, so when you need to become alkaline, the reason I say entrepreneurs need to do this, CEOs need to do this, C-level executives, high-level people, stop going to In-N-Out Burger. Stop going to places that are giving you these, this dry energy. Stop taking creatine. Stop listening to all the fad stuff. You need to make better decisions. You make better choices when you have more energy. So if you're looking for a new investment, if you're looking for a new deal to be made, you can't put your livelihood on McDonald's or on In-N-Out Burger. That's stupid. Go find you a nice plant-based chef. Why do I think plant-based? I've watched Game Changers and Forks Over Knives and stuff like that. I've done all that. I've watched all the documentaries, but this is my 8th year being biology plant-based. I'm 8 years, actually above 8 years. I started in April 2017, thanks to my ex-wife. She was really instrumental in me changing my diet. And I actually was still training for professional basketball. I was aspiring to go to the NBA. I was training to go to the G League at the time in Orlando, Florida. And when I came back from Orlando, training with Dr. Erwin Hudson and O Hoops, I was training with him for the entire month of April. I come back and my ex-wife, she's like, I don't want to eat meat no more. And I'm like, okay, so what are we gonna eat? Because I'm born in Louisiana. I was born in Lafayette, Louisiana. Being from Lafayette, Louisiana, Cajuns. Raging Cajun is the mascot for the university down there. You eat Cajun food. You eat gumbo. You eat chicken stews. You eat all these, these food. Fried everything, but not fried with coconut oil and olive oil. Fried with Crisco and lard and stuff like that. This slave diet type of food. That's what I kind of grew up, seeing and eating. They eat alligator and stuff like that down there. They eat snakes and stuff. It's crazy. That's like delicacy down there. But that's where I grew up. So I didn't have a clue about, well, what can we eat? If we're only gonna eat plants. But when I started to be more expansive, open my mind to it, be open to it. First of all, that's the key. First of all, be open to doing this. If you're not open to doing this, don't even consider it. Don't even think it's a possibility for you. Okay, I don't look like this just because it's by accident. I look like this because it's my lifestyle. This is why it's called the Alkalign Lifestyle. This is why it's luxury based. This is why it's just the top 1% of the top 1%. Because not everybody can be disciplined enough to understand this is why you should do this for yourself. I perform at the highest level in my body. I perform at the highest level in my mind. So one thing that I've grown accustomed to is people making excuses as to why they can't be their best self. And I'm here to tell you why. It's because what you're programmed with is stopping you from being your best self. All right? Subconsciously, you have a diet. Every Thanksgiving holiday, your family ate this. They ate this food, or they cooked the beans for good luck or something. They had the turkey, they fried it or baked it or whatever they did. But you have a certain style of eating, a certain style of being. And if you don't understand subconsciously that you've been programmed to do this, because how does this work? Subconsciously, this is how this works. And this is why the Alkalign Lifestyle changes this. All right? At your root, which is basically your fear chakra. I call it the fear chakra because it's based upon the level of survival instinct. All right? You focus on this chakra whenever you are afraid, whenever you're scared of something, whenever you are panicked of some kind, whenever you feel like you're losing control and you don't feel safe inside your own body, inside your own environment. Your inner environment is directly connected to your outer environment. So, at the root, at the base of this, if you have a body that is not strong, that's not able to build itself, to grow, to build muscle, to build endurance, to increase your VO2 max, which is basically your oxygen intake and your ability to pump that oxygen through your lungs throughout your entire body. If you don't increase these things over time, you begin to lose them. And then you begin to lose your element of survival. You're afraid. You can't take care of yourself. I've seen so many men, and you can call them high performers if you want to, but just because you got $1 billion, if your house catch on fire, can you go rescue your kids from their bedrooms and go rescue the dogs and get out there safely? Or do you got to call somebody in panic and agony and wait for somebody to come rescue you because you don't have the capability to do that, because you have a gut or because you're fat? This doesn't make sense. There should be no billionaire, no multimillionaire, no millionaire, no 100,000-aire that does not have a proper diet, that does not have a proper way to build their energy. Because what that does is that increases your chances of not surviving. That's why the root's so important. If you don't ground yourself, if you're not grounded in whom you are, in what you are, all right, and where you are, all of it matters. All of it matters, okay? If you're not grounded in yourself, you're gonna have a problem, all right? So here we got all of the cauliflower. Let's go, we're gonna go with the fennel. I'm gonna do this last squash, and I'm gonna do the cabbage. So, this is pretty easy. This is a really good knife. These are mine. So she had these really good knives that she got, and my ex-wife is actually a private plant-based chef. So when we first started our company, you know, she wasn't actually a chef yet. She was a chef at a clinic in Arizona. We weren't even together at that time, but you know, I still encourage her to pursue it. You know, and what happened with that was, again, the element of subconscious programming comes in again, because subconscious programming is developed from ages 0 to 7 years of age mainly. It still goes through your preteen type of years, like up to 12 years of age. But whenever you're in ages 0 to 7, meaning like I'm in the womb through like toddler stage, think of the root. The root is your womb through your first year, your first 12 years. You build up your element of survival and am I able to be here just through your first year of existence. That's when you build your first energy center. And if you're not, first of all, if you're not getting nourished with actual food, if you're a baby taking formula, which moms and parents, there's food out there that you can give them. Okay, the baby would prefer you give it to them directly, but you know, don't settle for formula, some synthetic thing. You're going to be pumping your children with so much estrogen and progesterone all throughout their child years, and they're going to be hitting puberty at like 10 years old. It's just like ridiculous. So let's make that a point to not do that. Let's give them some real food. But again, at the root, that's going to be the right to have things, the right to be here. You'll see people commit suicides, people commit self-destructive behaviors because they don't think that they have the right to be here. But that right was supposed to be developed from the womb through 12 months. You know, even after that, you'll see the sacral, which I think is 12 months to a year and a half, I believe, 12 to 18. And then you'll have the solar plexus, which is going to be your self-esteem. That's going to be your element of power and will. That's developed from 18 months to 4 years of age. So those first 3 centers of energy are all consumers of your energy. You need to understand that these first 3 energy centers, all the way from the ankle to the knee, back of the knee, to the perineum, to the sacral bone, it's called the coccyx, actually, at the base of your spine, which is where your kundalini energy is beginning. It's here. Also, your water storage is held under your 5th vertebrae in your spine. So always remember, if you're dehydrated, you're probably gonna have some low back pain. It's also a cause of low back pain, dehydration. And then your solar plexus, which is going to be the gut, it's going to be like the liver, it's going to be all these areas where you'll see all your visceral organs at the bottom. So kidneys, you have, meaning your adrenals, you'll have the liver, you'll have the pancreas, which is an alkalizing agent in your body. You have your intestines, small and large. This is going to be the sacral area. These areas, all ovaries, testes, they're all going to be in this area, all through here, under the heart, the thymus. It's all going to be in the visceral area. Okay? So, you're going to understand that you need to set yourself up for success. Set yourself up. All right? Set yourself up by feeding yourself right. All right? So, and again, subconscious programming is big because you may have an adult caretaker who's gone through something, You need to understand that they can pass that energy on to you. At any moment in time, that energy can get passed down and will get passed down onto you because of entanglement. Photons, basically, not only photons and electrons, but what happens is these photon emissions, based upon entanglement. I'll give you guys an example of an experiment. Swiss engineers, I believe, I think this was in the 1990s, they took a simple photon, they split it in half. This photon they split in half, they then shot 7 miles one way, the opposite one 7 miles the other way. So there's 2 photons that came from one photon. Shot them in equal direction, opposite directions. Okay, equal distance but opposite directions, 14 miles apart. Whatever they did to this one on one side, 7 miles away, happened simultaneously to the other one. There was no time lapse. What that means is you're living in an ocean, an energetic ocean. And this ocean that you're living in is connected to everyone. So your frequency is based upon your level of attention. When you change your level of attention, what you're thinking of, what you're focused on, you're changing basically your energy flow. Because your energy will flow where your attention goes. That's how energy works. All right? Energy flow where your attention goes. So when you're changing what you're looking at, what you're thinking about, you're changing your frequency. That's like changing the dial on the radio station or on the TV. Okay? That's how that works. So when you're a child, you don't know anything, you don't have much in that area of programming, because you basically come in like a computer without the software. You're like a cell phone without the iOS system. You can't call nobody. You're not connected to anything. So because of that, you need to have programs. So you need programs. The problem is that most people's programs are incorrect. Most people's programs are outside based, not inside based. You're taught to look for the outside for things like self-respect and value. You're taught to look for these things from the outside, and you're not taught that you can develop them from yourself. That's where most people have a problem in life. It takes them years to figure out you can just ask for whatever you want. But you have to ask for yourself, from yourself, because you're the God within. So you'll see all these ancient texts, people claiming the Bible, and they'll be spewing out scriptures, but they're fat. They're spewing out scriptures, but they're angry. Why are you spewing out scriptures and you're angry? Something's wrong. When you realize that these are systems, you start to follow the pathway of what these systems are telling you to do. That's the difference. All right? That's the difference. So in the case of the root, you have to understand that the energy is like a tornado. It grows from the bottom and it starts swirling all the way up through you back out to the atmosphere. That's how the energy works. When you become alkaline, think about batteries. You don't have acid batteries, you have alkaline batteries. If you were back in the day, I'm 42 years old, so I used to have a Walkman, I used to have a CD player, compact disc player. And my compact disc player was pretty cool, but it needed to have batteries. Until it was cool until the batteries died. When the batteries died, it wasn't cool no more. Because you had to re-up quick. If you didn't re-up, you couldn't do much of anything. So, that was an issue. But the batteries were alkaline. When you look at how batteries work, whenever the batteries get older, or whenever they get, they kind of get worn or they get used out, they become acidic. You start to see them oxidize. So that's why you can look at your car battery. You have positive and negative on one side and one side. If you need to jumpstart your car, you would basically hook on positive and negative to somebody else's battery, and that generates the energy. But at the root, this is where you have your original area of vitality. Just by you having so much limitation, you're stopping yourself from experiencing that vitality from within you. So now you don't have any vitality because you can't generate it. You're the generator of that energy. It's you. See, so we eat food, but this food that I'm eating is light. The more light that I can get, the more light that I can have within me, the better for me. The less light that I have, it's worse. All right? I need to have light. I need to have as much light as possible. I need that. Okay? Let me make sure I got this real quick. Hold on one second. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, so right now I'm starting on the mushrooms right now. You guys are going to see this. Let me zoom in a little bit on this. Make sure you guys can catch on to that one. Okay. So let's see. All right, so again, and so here's the cool part about when I'm preparing these mushrooms. So, if you're a person, and I'm not saying I'm biased towards it. I'm just saying, if you're from the South, if you're a person that, say you ate barbecue, like pulled pork sandwiches and stuff like that growing up, it's a thing for you. You like to eat it. There's a lot of recipes that you can use. I could provide. I will provide you some links to. Actually, my ex-wife, she's got books and different things. And so one thing I also want you guys to understand about relationships is that you don't have to be someone's perfect best friend in order to promote them. I'm truly grateful for changing my diet. And I always be grateful to her for inspiring me to do so, because I would never know this side of myself if I did not go through that process of shifting and changing. So realize this: people do not have to do everything in the way that you want them to do it. People, you can disagree and still support. Even if you disagree, it doesn't matter. So I'm still truly grateful to this day that I met that person, that lady, and that she helped me to just expand my awareness, to food. She had struggles and issues with food, and that's really what got her to do it. And then, we had dogs. She had a rescue dog, and it was weird. It's like, okay, yeah, well, we have pets. It's like we have animals as pets, but we're eating the animals. Like, it's really weird. So, and people don't think about that either. Like eating eggs is still eating a chicken. Like, that's the information for a chicken. So it's like, then I'm eating a chicken. But all of these animals are pretty much making me sick. Eating all these animals make you sick. Like if you're type 1 or type 2 diabetic, I guarantee you just eat a lot of meat. I'm telling you, you just eat too much meat. And because you eat so much meat, you're eating things that have no energy. You know, we measure, we don't count calories. At Alkalign Lifestyle, I do not teach anyone to count calories or macros, because calories are actually the measurement of heat. That's pretty much it. They measure heat. But this is the thing. They used to say that heat, by definition, is wasted energy, which I don't believe anything's wasted. Okay, because I have this theory called the plasma universe theory that basically says that plasma, which is the fourth state of matter, which is predominantly water. Okay, plasma is made of, I believe, 92% water, 8% blood. It's 55% of the actual blood is plasma. And 92% of that 55% is water. Okay, so your water, you're like this giant test tube of water. And so this is why, again, it's important. I was talking about the root earlier. I'm still talking about it. To start your process off, to get your chakras in alignment, you must first still yourself. You must be still. You're hearing people, many people. You can watch any podcast, any TikTok, any social media, talk about the shadow. They have this obsession almost with the shadow. Carl Jung and the shadow work. The shadow, as I read in a book by Anadea Judith called Eastern Body, Western Mind, she speaks on this. She says that the shadow is actually it's born from the sacral, the second chakra area, energy center. It's born from there. And what people have is a problem with pleasure. Problem with pleasure, a problem with flow. They don't have any flow. They just literally don't have any flow. They're stiff. They're rigid in their way of thinking, in their way of being. They think that because this is what they believe, this is the one-all thing, this is how it's gonna be. Yeah, I know you've seen people like this. They are just not open to any possibility. They are as closed off as possible. And those types of individuals are not the ones that you want to be around, because those individuals do not know anything about pleasure. They know nothing about it. Nothing at all. And what they do is they make you rigid. That's why your caretakers, if you had rigid caretakers, people who only thought in one possibility, people who only think in terms of one way, who do not use their mind power for anything. How do you use your mind power, by the way? You ask questions. I mean, your brain is inherently powerful. Everyone is psychic. Everyone has the ability to remote view. Everyone has the ability to speak telepathically. Everyone has these abilities. It's not limited to myself or anyone else. What happens is you get distracted. Like right now, I live in Oak Park area, California, beautiful area. But I used to live in Beverly Hills. I used to live in Santa Monica. I used to live in West Hollywood. I used to live in the city, essentially. I was in the city. And all I heard was sirens all day. And all I heard was cars honking all day. And all I heard was just this noise, chaos. You don't realize that alters your fifth chakra, which is going to be the throat, because that's the sound of vibration. There's laws that you need to be living by. And this food is one of the basis of those laws. Also the water, like I told you. Water is inherently powerful. Water controls that flow. You can't get anything to go through your intestines if you don't have any hydration. So you can't digest your food without water. You can't do a whole lot of processes without water, because The water is what fuels the connections between your brain and your body. You have that vagus nerve that is responsible for the heart-brain connection, the thymus gland, and also the gut-brain connection. Your gut microbiome is essentially important for you to regulate your mood. You know, whenever you eat food, you produce melatonin and you produce serotonin, but you produce more melatonin, 400 times more than your pineal gland. Your gut comes from your gut. So if you don't have the sun in your belly right, you have a problem. So that's also why moms understand what love truly is. Love is really providing yourself self-care. You know, I think more moms need to be selfish and also need to not be afraid of going to the weight room and going to the gym. And more men should be more encouraging of getting women, not based on steroids. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just based upon what you can do and, you know, just lifting and things like that. I believe it's so beneficial for people to be strong today. That's what I think is fountain the youth. You know, you age less by doing that. So, okay, so we got just about everything prepped now except for the potatoes. I might just cut them in sections and just kind of boil them. So I'm into that right now. But here go the mushrooms. Don't worry, I'll clean up all this. This is all going to be going in the pots too. But yeah, so back to the lifestyle. So essentially, when you get the energy generated from you first, because of the fact you are whole, because of the fact that you have what you need, when you have that energy generated, everything is good, you got the connections right, you got everything working right, it's good. It's good. If and when you can understand yourself enough to receive pleasure, the energy moves up to the second area called the sacral. Now again, the sacral is basically your right to feel things, because people don't feel. People don't take time to feel through their own emotions. Most of the time, they ignore them. Most of the time, they shun them, or they shoo them away. They just don't take time on their emotions. And you should. You need to take time to process your own emotion. I do it a lot. You know, I'm very big about that. I'm very big about processing my own emotion. Because I need to understand why I feel this way. What do I feel from within? Why do I feel this within? And then I can understand what the parenting, where it came from, who told me that, and do I actually believe in that that's true. Many people live by social order. Many people live by how society tells them to live. And that's not healthy. That's not what you want to do. You don't want to live by how society tells you to live. You don't want to do that. Because you'll find that you never actually heard yourself and directed yourself. Okay, so another thing. All right, so we got all the mushrooms here. Now mushrooms, you'll see that this color is pretty much white. So I like to look at this as this is also another neural network. And you look at mushrooms and funguses. You know, these things have their own network. And this network, you could also say that these affect the crown area of the chakra system. The crown up top. Alright? So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to spread all of these. Spread all of these onto the baking sheet. You're going to see how I'm going to do it. So let me take this baking sheet also. Let me get some basil here because I do like my herbs. Here we go. Alright. Oh, this smells really good. Okay. Yeah, let's do if you have an outdoor space, one thing that you could do for yourself that would benefit you a lot is to plant your own garden, plant your own seeds. It's really, really good for you to have your own food, you know, that you cultivate. It's very cool, actually. It's a very cool thing for you to do. Very, very good thing for you to do. Cultivate your own. I'm just gonna take a couple. I'm not gonna take all of it. Just a couple. Save the rest of it. All right. Okay. I'm gonna cut it for something else. For sure. All right. So here we go. Okay. All right. So let's see. So now, turn it to this side. We're gonna go on this side. We're gonna look at the pans and everything else. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to spread now everything. I'm gonna put the oven on. So let me go on bake. 350 is fine. Okay. So now y'all get to see. This pan's already set up right now. All I'm gonna do right here is spread everything on this pan. So here comes the cauliflower first. This one, all right. Some celery in here too. Okay, here's that. Okay. And this is a really simple way to prepare something very nourishing again for yourself to eat over the course of the next couple of days. I'm riding my bike a lot. I'm training for essentially an Ironman right now. And my goal is to really get into, you know, peak shape soon, and sooner than later, clearly. But that's what I'm going for right now. So let me do this real quick. Let me actually. Okay. There we go. All right. So here is this area here. You'll see. Okay. So again. Okay, so now you'll see, as you can see, I have one sheet pan. I'm gonna do 2 sheet pans right now. I think that's more appropriate because I have a lot of stuff I want to prepare. 2 sheet pans. Real simple concept. All I did was take this and put some parchment paper on top of it so it doesn't eat up my pan over time. And you'll see that the sheet pans have olive oil on them. That's what they have. That's what I put on. There we go. Perfect. Perfect whip. All right. Okay, so here's the next one. So I spread on the bottom and on top, just because this is the olive oil I'm using today. Graza. Let's see if you can see that. Okay, let's go for it. All right. Okay. Here we go. I'm so happy I have so much counter space too, which makes it so much easier. So much counter space makes it so much easier. Okay, now all of this can go here. And I also have the other bowl too. The mushrooms are gonna be inside the skillet pan. So you'll see that, the skillet pan. And also the kale. But here I'm gonna cover it up with some cabbage. So all these guys are gonna be in here. Spread on accordingly. Okay. And so again, once you get to the sacral area, which is your area of pleasure, that allows you to feel. Most people are blocked by religious beliefs of so much where they're basically held tight and armored. And this is what you call armoring, angelic armoring. That's actually what the term is called, armoring. This was a term that was coined by Wilhelm Reich. You'll start to see that this is going to be a gentleman who you'll probably within the next year or two, you start to understand who Reich was. Reich was basically like a pioneer. He basically formulated every wellness center modality because his biggest thing was energetic armoring, people holding tension and people holding suppression. I don't believe in traumas. I don't believe anybody has traumas. I believe people have bad associations to experiences of their life. And if you did not change those experiences based upon how you associated with them, you hold them inside of your body energetically, and that's what stops you from having the flow. So you're not living in the flow anymore because you basically killed the flow. That's how you kill the flow. Okay, so, what I think is that you're starting to see people be more accountable for what they think. They stop blaming everybody else. They stop looking outwardly for validation or for value because their level of self-respect, they realize it's only from them. It only can come from you. That's the formula for self-respect. If you guys are looking for an instruction manual on how to achieve self-respect, I do have a video that's called the self-respect formula. You guys can check out on my YouTube channel too. But also, once you get to the area of feeling, here's where I think the most important one comes. That's the solar plexus. The plexus is actually where you build your will. And your will is built, from your actions taken. And that's also because it's cause and effect. So think about this. There's universal laws, right? There's universal laws. The law of cause and effect is going to be at the plexus. The law of polarity, positive and negative, that's going to be at the sacral. Then you have gender. Which one are you? That's simple. That's going to be the law at the base of your root. These are universal law. You must understand that how universal law works. Again, I'm going to put some seeds. I'm going to season it with sea salt right now because I don't really need too much in the area of seasoning. Sometimes I do black pepper. It's pretty cool. But this is some really good sea salt, Celtic salt. I believe this is Celtic salt. Or gray salt. I think this is gray salt. Either one is great. So you're a salty person. You need salt water inside your body. You're a salt battery. So eating bland food may be cool if you're, if you're ailing or if you're sick. You're attempting to detoxify your body. You need to heal, but you still need to have salt to power up your mechanism, power up your vessel. Okay. So once this gets in, we're gonna put these vegetables in, and then I'm gonna start on the tofu, cutting in the potatoes, and we're gonna go with that. All right, so I'll be right back with that. It's coming up. Okay, now we're back, and there you have it. This is the completed project of everything, and I will give you an overview of the menu, how I did this. So I have a starch because I do believe in eating some starch. I know people say starch is bad, and I only believe starch is bad, first of all, when it's in excess, meaning too much of it at one time, and also in combination with meat. When you eat starch and meat, that's a really bad combination for digestion. So just remember that whenever you're looking to eat in order with how your body works, you want to eat fruit first. So I'll give you an overview of how to do this. So say a typical day. This is the typical day. All right, we have all of this food here, but I'm gonna split it up into different days. So you'll see, and close this together. So you have red potatoes here. On here you have different types of mushrooms. This would be cremini mushrooms. I believe you have, let me see what else, what other mushrooms did I have? Let's see. I had a couple of different types, so let's see. I know first off, actually I had cremini mushrooms, brown and white. Let's see, simple. Right here is going to be tofu, and this tofu is going to be organic tofu. I got this from Trader Joe's. Traditionally, I'll actually go to Trader Joe's to get tofu. I'd rather go to Whole Foods or actually Sprout Store to get it, but it's just with this spur of the moment, I picked it up. So make sure that whenever you get food, that you purchase organic food. And even still, if you purchase organic food, do your best to make sure it's clean. So you clean it yourself. That's one thing I do. Make sure I just throw it out there, like a disclaimer. You don't know necessarily where all the farms are, what they do to their food, how they process it. So, you know, just make sure you're protecting it in that way. On this end, you're gonna see this one right here. And again, the tofu is not just, it's tofu mixed with coconut aminos. This is like my sauce of choice. I enjoy it. It's, high quality. The nutrient content is great. It gives me a lot of energy whenever I eat it. Consume it, it's great. As far as the protein, I'm not concerned about my protein because I get all the protein from the plants that I'm gonna show you. And also the tofu and even the mushrooms have a little bit. But when you get to this area here, you'll see I have kale in the back. It's dark green kale. You'll see I have, these are grape tomatoes, or cherry tomato, I think it's grape tomatoes. You'll see I have carrots, I have squash, which is the green and the yellow type. I have celery, I have cauliflower, I have fennel, and I have purple cabbage. There's a lot of colors in here, which I believe you need to have a variation of color because you need to understand that all of these things are on different frequencies. They all have different frequency when they go into your body. They resonate with different parts of your body, different functions, whether it's the thyroid, whether it's the thymus, whether it's the pineal gland, the crown, whether it's the sacral for your digestion. You're talking about your adrenals, or you're talking about your ovaries or your testes as a man. Whatever you're looking to basically integrate, and whatever you're looking to, you know, close up those deficiencies, you're gonna get it from the food. You know, this is you'll see I'm in my kitchen, so I have like a kitchen library too. So you'll see I have reference guides. So this is a good little practical book that I use, and it's actually an old book. It's the 12 tissue salts. The 12 tissue salts. This book it's fairly old. I think it's in, let me see what, and 1960, first copyright, 1971, this is copyright. So yeah, it's pretty old. Not, but what it's talking about is how you get all of your 12 major tissues, salts, from the food. Okay, now if you're not eating your 12 mineral cell salts, 12 mineral cell salts that come from the food, you're not getting a complete nutritional map, concrete map. All right, you have to have all 12 of those cell salts. Now, some people's problem is they can't digest their food now because they're too stressed out, they're living in too much of a fight or flight mode, and there's no energy in the viscera to digest their food. What you do then is you detoxify your cells. Okay, that is something that is very powerful, and I'll explain that in an instant as well. First off, in order to start the process of digesting your food a lot better than what you are doing, you want to start to eat your fruit first. Whenever you get up in the morning, this is what you're gonna do. I'm gonna get some water. This is water. This is a 24-ounce glass, but if you can fill it up to at least 16 ounces and give yourself some time. 16 ounces of water, it's great. Either some organic grapes that I picked up, some red grapes. Pretty solid, pretty good. And these are gonna be really good and powerful for you to use to extract and pull mucus out your system. Also cleanse your system and help you digest your food. This is some simple blueberries for some good fiber, okay? So when you get up in the morning, first thing you should do is drink some water. Have a bowel movement, that's what you wanna do. Grapes will help you have this bowel movement. That's why grapes are so powerful. Okay, and then blueberries too. Fiber is gonna help you a lot. You'll see bananas. Bananas are really good. They're also a little bit on the starchy side, so they have a little bit of starch inside of them, but it's not a bad thing for you to have if your system's working. Potassium is really good for you. This is one of the major cell salts too. So with that being said, fruit first. Do your best to consume your fruit before noon. Okay, your fruit before noon. Fruit before noon is a really powerful thing for you to do. And then I actually only eat one meal a day. I only eat one main meal a day. And so you see all this food here, I would take a handful of this, a handful of this, a handful of that, a handful of that, a handful of this, maybe a few tomatoes. And then I would stuff it into a glass jar. So you would see, here is a section here. So here's what I would do. This is my typical day. Okay. So right here. So let me get something real quick. Dishwasher, thankfully, right in front of me. Okay. I have a spoon right here. So perfect. Okay, so here you'll see this is my typical meal. So I'll take a handful of this. This will be in the front. Then I'll take a handful of this. This will be some mycelium network. Also some tofu. Take a handful of that, maybe put another one or two. So let me get this right here. Cover that up. And then another little half. And top it off with some of this. Okay, now I'll go to the vegetable side. Make sure I get a handful of everything. I want just a simple handful of everything. And I'll come in with, I want 2 tomatoes. Tomatoes are awesome for dispersing your water, histamine. Tomatoes give you some of that. There goes some kale in here. And let's see, top that off. A little bit more kale. So now you'll see this is a full meal right here. This right here is a full meal. If I want to have anything extra, I can add something. If I want to add tofu and some mushrooms, I want to add some more potatoes. Okay, great. This is a whole complete meal. This is like stuffed to the top. I only need to do this one time. Okay, so now you'll see this right here, and I just top it off. You get these from IKEA. Actually, these little containers here, they're really good. They go in the oven too as well. So I don't use the microwave. I don't believe in microwave. I think microwave is really unhealthy for people to use. Sends too many microwaves to your food, and I don't want to do that. So I don't want to speed myself up. So I just put it in here, and this is what I do. And I just pack in a couple of these, and I pack the rest in a large container. And then I have 4 of these. I stack them up, and that's what I do. So there you have it. As far as meal preparation, you'll see just how that works, just how that goes. Let me get this organized, okay. And so here we go. So now, all right. So essentially, all right, and what you're doing is you're going to be organizing yourself. Sundays is a great day to do this because you should be writing down like a growth plan every Sunday. You should have a growth plan every single Sunday where you basically just have a calendar that takes care of all of the next 5 days what you're gonna do. Do not start your week off without having a plan of what you're gonna do for each day. You have a meditation plan, you have a workout plan, you have a plan for your food, for what you're gonna eat every day, how much water you're gonna drink every day, what you're going to be working on. Maybe it's content creation, maybe it's you have a deal that you're working on, whatever you're working on. Okay, professional athletes, we have scheduled 3, 4, 5 days a week. If it's all season, like if you're in the NBA right now, you're probably in all season right now. So you're probably training 3 times a week at least, maybe 2 times a day, 3 times a day. Sometimes you're getting shots up. You know, you're also running the track. You're also in the weight room. You know, so you need to be able to nourish yourself. So if you want to have more fuel, you might have 2 of those glass containers packed for you. If you're a CEO, like I'm a CEO, I own my own companies. I basically say Sundays are my day for me to take this time to unwind for myself, plan myself out, plan my days out. I don't delegate this part. Many people delegate these things to, you know, DoorDash and delivery services for them to get their food. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in delegating things that go directly into me. That energy is powerful. It can enhance me. It can take me down a notch where I don't want to be. So, you know, if you think about it in that regard, you would look a lot more closely at what you're doing, and you would look a lot more closely at mainly, you know, who you're giving the reins to your health and wellness to. You know, when you see it from that perspective, it shifts your perspective on who are you actually giving the keys to your vessel. Who has the keys to your vessel? Okay, and if you don't have the keys to your vessel, you might have a problem, because you have to look at it from this perspective. This right here, food, directly affects the solar plexus. When you don't have a system for eating and nourishing your body, you're going to be in excess or deficiency. That means that you won't have the will to do things. You won't have the will to move, the discipline to keep going. That's where this is really powerful. You see people who start a process off and they go to a gym, they have New Year's resolution, they start to train themselves, want to lose weight, but they don't keep it up because of the simple fact that they don't have a balance in the solar plexus. They don't have a balance in their gut. There's no gut-brain coherence. If you can find a gut-brain coherence, or when you can create gut-brain coherence, all of a sudden, your choices become easier. Your decision-making becomes crisper and sharper. Your concentration, you're able to sit still with yourself for longer. You just start to see yourself differently. My body changed drastically, dramatically. I mean, in a great way. You know, where I'm here, I'm fit, and I'm not hurting, I'm not inflamed, I don't have brain fog. I don't consume alcohol, but that's mainly because your plexus here has 12 cranial nerves inside of it. Every system inside your human body is connected to your stomach, to your gut. It's in here. When whatever you consume comes into here, okay, even whenever you feel something, because this is where you have your enteric nervous system. If you want to study the enteric nervous system, there's a video on my YouTube channel that tells you about how the difference between the enteric nervous system and the central nervous system, how it works inside your system and inside your body. So check it out. But what I'm saying is, you have to look at this as this is where it's going to have your seat of your intuition. This is the seat of how your body's going to respond. So your subconscious is programmed inside this solar plexus. This is what's going to actually navigate your way to where you're going to go, not going to go, what you're going to get, not going to get, so on and so forth. So just think about that whenever you're making food choices to go eat things, go out to eat. You have to be disciplined. Don't eat past 9 o'clock, the latest 9 o'clock, because you need to be digesting your food. From the hours of 11 to 1 is your gallbladder. That's going to be the seat of your stomach acid, where your self-esteem comes from. The liver is going to be 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. This is due to the Chinese body clock. So this is how we also teach the Alkalign Lifestyle based upon the Chinese body clock and circadian rhythms inside your head. Okay, so the gallbladder 11 to 1, liver 1 to 3, and then you have 3 to 5, which is going to be your lungs. And whenever you get up in the morning, 5 to 7 a.m., that's going to be your large intestine. You need to have bowel movement to get rid of the waste from yesterday that you consumed. Sort of brand new day. Okay? So learn that this is a very important step to keep your mood the way it's supposed to be, to keep yourself positive. When you consume angry foods, there's angry foods, too much spices, too much excess in terms of alcohol, because it's going to affect your liver, because you have a mechanism that detoxifies your blood initially, which is going to be your liver. But when it's down, it's not working right, when it's not processing things correctly, also the adrenals, too much is going on. You need to be detoxified. So click the link in my description below. I have links to Replenish, which is my overnight herbal formula, and Awaken, which is my daytime herbal formula, that can actually go into your cells, pull out the toxins, especially parasitic, because people have parasites, especially if you eat meat. It's a guarantee. And my dogs actually do my cleanses too, so it's not just me. They had issues before, but once we all became detoxified, everyone was healthy again. Ultimately, we have something for everybody in terms of high performance. So click the link in my description below. Check out my website. Check out the videos I have. Anything that you need to learn about how your frame works, your mind works, your body works, and especially being expressive, being authentic. I have it, all of it, based upon energy. All scientifically proven, and I'm here as a billboard to show you this is my lifestyle. This is what I do. All right. Ultimately, I'll see you guys in the next video. Got one coming out tomorrow morning, I believe. So check it out. You guys got time. All right. Peace.